Take a seat, Mum. Can I get you anything? Cup of tea, maybe? I made some earlier. It's more for me, really. Just helps to calm my nerves.
Well, you don't seem very calm now.
Well, that's because I haven't had any yet.
You're shaking. Come and sit down.
I can't believe it. Miss Welch. 10 years. I realised I worked for her this morning. Ever since I left school. She was like a grandmother to me. Just can't believe she's gone.
Tell me, Agatha, what happened this morning?
Well, it started off like any other morning would. I got in early like I always do, made a breakfast, and tidied around the house. She told me she was going to the reading room, so I brought her a morning paper and then I cleaned upstairs. Later I went to the shop, I bought some milk and fresh bread. It was about 7 o'clock this morning. I checked on her before I left. She was fine, she was sitting in a chair like she always does. And then when I got back, well, she was still there, but she was slumped back. She had blood all down her front. I'm sorry, Mum, I'm not usually like this.
What happened next?
Well, I called the inspector right away.
And when is the inspector getting here?
He's here already. He's in the reading room, examining the scene.
Oh, Jane. I was wondering how long it would be before you arrived. Terrible news, just terrible. But we'll get to the bottom of this. You have my word.
I'm so glad you're here, Inspector. I feel so much more confident knowing you're on the case. Can't rely on the youngsters down at the station to do as good a job as you.
Kind words. Thank you, Jane. But now to the case in hand. I can confirm that at 7 a.m, about 2 hours ago, Miss Aurora Welsh was murdered in the reading room. She had 2 stab wounds to the chest with a large blade, and as far as we can ascertain, she died from loss of blood. We've all lost someone very special this morning. She'll be sadly missed, but we'll find the person that did this. You can rely on me. And now, Agatha, perhaps another pot of tea?
You needn't conduct an investigation, Inspector. Agatha is the one who did this.
So sure, so soon. These cases are often a lot more complicated than they first appear, Jane.
And sometimes the answer is staring you right in the face. She was the only one that was here. And while her work for Aurora would have paid some of her bills, she just started dating this Oliver fellow and they've saving up to buy a house. what better way to raise the funds? I bet Aurora left her heaps of money in the will.
Yes, well, my thoughts were very much along those lines, Jane, but we can't just go throwing accusations about. We have to be thorough.
Well, you'd better get on with it then. I lost my closest friend this morning, and I will not have her killer escape justice.
I've brought some biscuits in case anyone missed breakfast.
Thank you, Agatha.
Can I get anything else for anyone?
Well, actually, there is one thing. I wonder if you would mind answering a few more questions about this morning.
Well, I already told you everything I know, Inspector, but I can try again if you think it'll help.
It'll help.
Now, you said that you were at the shop this morning. Do you have any evidence to corroborate your alibi?
Well, it was the Brown shop. It was Mr. Brown that served me. I think they have a telephone if you want to call them.
Do you have some sort of evidence of the purchase? Receipt, 4p, milk and bread, and it's dated today. Now, I noticed your bicycle outside. Did you ride to the shop?
No, from home to here, but after I'd done the cleaning, I thought I'd make the most of the fresh air, so I walked.
So, how long does it take you to walk to the shop?
About 10 minutes.
So, 10 minutes there, 10 minutes back, and maybe 5 minutes if there's a queue. Was there a queue?
No, I was in and out.
So, say about 22 minutes altogether. More than enough time for the murder to be committed. But, on the other hand, if you did cycle, which you were certainly capable of doing, then you could have been there and back in 5 minutes. Now, I can't be that accurate as to the time of murder. Certainly not to 5 minutes. 5 minutes, the time it would have taken you to cycle to the shop.
Am I a suspect, Inspector Wargrave?
I'm afraid that you are, Agatha.
Why? Because I'm the most obvious one to blame.
Because you could have done it, and the odds are that you're the most likely one.
Well, that doesn't mean I did do it. Why on earth would I want to?
How about to raise the funds to buy a house for you and your fiancé?
I can show you my savings book if it ease your mind. We've been saving for a very long time. Why would I kill one of my closest and most dear friends to do such a thing? And why would I get the best inspector? Because I care about my mistress. That's why.
Well, who else do you suppose did this then, miss?
Well, I'm not the only one in the room with a motive.
Go on.
Well, everyone knows that the two of you were rivals in your youth. You married the love of her life.
Albert was the love of my life too. I married him. So what possible reason would I have to murder my closest friend?
Well, the two of you had a disagreement only the other night. I heard it when I was upstairs.
You should not be eavesdropping on your mistress's conversations, let alone repeating them in public.
And what was this disagreement about, Jane?
Where is she? What's happened?
Excuse me, sir. Who are you?
Tommy,
I came as soon as I heard.
you got here quick enough then.
Are you the detective?
The very best.
Well, where's my aunt? Can I see her?
I suppose so, if you'll just follow me this way, sir.
In 10 years, I've never once seen that man.
No. Exactly why you should stop interrogating me.
Well, why is he here?
That's a very good question, considering he lives in London.
So, what happens now?
Well, I am currently investigating who the perpetrator might have been because I can confirm that this is a case of murder.
No, Inspector, I meant about my auntie's will.
Oh, Will.
I have to return to London very soon, and I have to make sure the will is read too.
London is a very long journey. How is it that you arrived here so soon, sir?
Well, I was already in town. I arrived yesterday afternoon.
And what was your business in town, sir?
Well, I was just visiting, Inspector. I have many friends who remain local, you see. I was going to come see Aunt Aura today, but...
There were no visitors in the diary, sir.
No, well, I didn't need an appointment per se. I'm her nephew. I was going to surprise her.
You certainly did that.
Sorry?
Where were you at 7 o'clock this morning, sir?
7 a.m. you say, Inspector? I was having breakfast with Reginald.
Reginald?
Yes, he's my friend from school. I'm staying at his house.
And does Reginald have a telephone?
I didn't quite notice. Why would you want to telephone Reginald?
Just to see if he can corroborate your story.
My story?
Yes. How did you discover that your aunt had died?
Well, the postman mentioned it to Reginald.
It was Percy. He came round this morning. Came round not long after I found her, sir.
Yes, I know old Perce. So, how did you get here when you found the news?
I walked well, I ran more like. It may be many years since I've lived here, Inspector, but I still know my way around the place. Down the end of Oak Avenue, across Maple Drive, and through the park that comes out down the end of the road. And, as you will remember, when I arrived, I was rather out of breath.
Well, I certainly have a great deal to think about. I would be grateful if you would all remain here while I search the house for more clues. And Agatha, please make sure that everybody stays refreshed.
Dear Lord!
None of that language in this house, please.
I'm sorry, Ma'am, but how long is this process going to take before we actually get to see the will? What if we never find the chap who killed Auntie? Will it all be locked up indefinitely?
Where are your manners, boy? Are you so consumed with small matters of money and possessions that you would disregard the grieving of those close to the deceased?
Close to the deceased? She was my aunt!
Well, obviously not close enough to want to visit.
Oh, I wanted to. I really did, but my job in London keeps me very occupied, and I'm sure Auntie wouldn't have wanted me to sacrifice my job for her. Besides, I can only stay no longer than 2 days. My clients can simply not be neglected.
Excuse me, sir. Is that a key for this house?
Why, yes it is, but I didn't need it. The front door was open.
And how did you acquire that key, sir?
Auntie gave it me before I left for London. She said, visit any time. We were very close before I left for London, Auntie and I. Her favourite nephew, she used to say. Even though I was her only nephew.
Were there any signs of a break-in when you returned?
No, not all. key out in front of us if he was the one that committed the crime. I don't believe he's bright enough to do such a thing, even if he does have a motive.
Well, he's been harping on about the will for long enough.
That's true. But he's going about everything in the wrong way if he's trying to avoid being a suspect. How many keys do you think Miss Welch gave out in a time?
Who knows? A few to family and friends here and there. We both have one, clearly.
I can't believe I never realised it before. I know someone else that has a key.
Your girl?
And when I got back from the shop, nothing had moved. There was no evidence of a break-in. There wasn't even a corner of a rug turned over, nothing like that. The room around her was picture perfect. It was like whoever it was, the killer, they knew what they were doing. It was like it was their job to know how the perfect crime is committed.
You're not saying...
Did you find anything, Inspector?
Nothing conclusive, I'm afraid.
I noticed that too. Before you arrived. Nothing had moved out of place.
What are you suggesting, Agatha?
Well, there was no evidence of a break-in. The perpetrator must have had a key.
Dear Lord! Is he blaming me because of this?
Oh, hush, boy.
All three of you have keys to the house, am I right?
All four of us.
Sorry?
I have a good memory, Inspector. I have to remember all of Miss Welch's appointments and requirements. And I remember when this house was burgled 3 years ago, and that you were the one that investigated the case. And she gave you a key to thank you. Now, she weren't naive. She saved up a lot of money in her years, and that fortune she knew that someone might come after it. She trusted you with a key. What else did she entrust to you, Inspector?
Come now, Agatha.
Where were you, Inspector? At 7 a.m. this morning.
I'll get that. Everybody else stay put. Especially you.
You realise that this is my word against yours, and as you've already said, I am the best detective around.
That's true. And who would suspect the best detective? He wouldn't use his reputation to his advantage, especially not when he's in £600 worth of gambling debt. Word travels fast in a town like this, Inspector.
It was just Percy. He bought the will on behalf of the lawyer's office.
Oh, can you read it out loud to me?
Oh, I'm shaking. Whew. The last will and testament of Aurora Welch. Oh, auntie. First, I leave Agatha Mills the sum of £400. A year's wage so she can look for further employment and the ownership to my allotment on Hanover Road. I know how much she enjoys being outdoors. Oh. Jane Parsons, my dearest and closest friend. With the following property, I leave my house and worldly possessions within it. I know you always wanted a smaller place once you lost Albert. Now you have it. Oh, yeah. Here we go. To Thomas Welch, my nephew, should have been great nephew, with the following property of £20. £20? The exact amount required for the return train ticket home from London, so that he may visit his loving family more often. Is that it?
Keep reading.
Oh, just give me a moment, Jane. Ah, Mr. James Wargrave. I leave the sum of £600, the value of which he recovered when he caught the man who robbed my house. I am eternally grateful.
£600. That is the amount that you owe around town, is it not, Inspector?
Well, Inspector. It looks like you'll have to come to the station with me. And I'll take my £20 while I'm at it. Come on.
I never would have bet on you being the one that figured it out.
Job well done, miss.
If you don't mind me asking, what was that disagreement that you had the other night?
I was insisting she stop handing out keys.